787 Queen West, and I've been hearing all about great cooks, and you got to tell me about this because I've been hearing about it, reading about it in the paper. So tell me.
That's great. Great Cooks is a forum, a cooking forum for Toronto's culinary stars. The best chefs in Toronto, and actually now from out of town as well. New York, Chicago, New Orleans, Vancouver, they come here as well. And we go and visit them in those cities. But basically it's a nice way for the public and the chefs to meet in a very informal setting. The chef cooks for 3 hours. We get to eat and drink while they do that. We taste everything that they make. And we ask a lot of questions. The chef talks about what it's like to be a chef, what they're like in their restaurants, the restaurant business. And it's a nice way for everybody to get together for an evening. Well,
how did you get this idea? I mean, it's so unique.
Well, Dufflet, who owns the Great Cooks and Dufflet Pastries, had the idea. The kitchen back here was the original bakery for Dufflet's. It was sitting empty for a while because she moved out to bigger facilities, and decided that Toronto chefs needed to be showcased.
Oh yeah, they got to show off their style.
Exactly.
That's
Whereas,
amazing.
you know, for a while it was only out of town big names that used to come here, and nobody paid attention to the chefs. Of course, that's changed over the last, 6 to 10 years. Everybody wants the chefs now for everything.
Oh, of course.
Cooking classes and fundraising. They're asked a lot to do fundraisers. All these cooking fundraising events, and then they're wonderful with it. They really do a lot.
Well, how many people would you have in an event like tonight?
Our maximum is 24. We don't always have that. Sometimes it's only 10, so it's a smaller group. Tonight I think we have about 15 people.
Now, I'm curious, is it all women?
No.
Because a lot of times women take these things
No. It has happened where it's been more men than women at classes.
Really?
And I don't know why. There's certain chefs that just draw, or maybe it's the theme for the night that draw more men than women. But generally it's a really good mix.
Well, your chef that was working here before, Christine, said that there's a name you give to people who come to these events. What do you call them?
Foodies.
Foodies, okay.
Like groupies. Like groupies.
Shopaholics.
Exactly. I'm sure there's groupies for chefs as well as there are for musicians.
Well, Christine was also telling me that you take trips to New York. Now, when I go to New York, I go to shop, but when your group goes to New York, you don't go to shop.
Well, we shop some, but we eat.
Oh,
we
really?
do cooking classes where we also eat, and we visit a lot of the food shops, the fine food shops, the home appliances, not appliances, but cookware shops and everything related to food, cookbook stores, everything. And of course, we never come back empty-handed.
No,
we shop,
yes, you shop sneaking it all across the border.
Yeah.
Tell everybody that. Well, when people come to a class like this for the evening, do they sign up for one class? Do they sign up for several classes? How does it work?
It really varies. The program is set out with individual nights or days. We have some on Sundays as well in the daytime. And so people can book whatever they'd like, one, or we had someone booking 8 today. So it really varies.
Oh, this
8
is
classes.
A definite foodie. This is somebody who wants to eat.
Well, it's a real night out as well. It's entertainment mixed in with learning and cooking class. It's not, as you can see, our kitchen is not really a classroom setting. This is a kitchen.
So they're not just here to learn how to cook.
No.
They're here to socialize, experience the cooking atmosphere, and get a chance to meet a great chef and kind of tell stories. And
That's
share
right,
ideas.
and meet each other. We have people that have met here over and over again, and they've set up groups now where they go and eat out to restaurants together. And actually we have 3 or 4 of them tonight here because R.P. Magyar of Splendida, who's appearing tonight, is one of the favorites.
Yes. One of my favorite restaurants in the city is Splendido.
Yes.
So I offered to do this interview because I knew I'd get to eat. I really
well, you're in luck.
Oh, I'm looking forward to it.
Yes.
Now, if, for a night like tonight, what would I pay if I wanted to come here and experience
$70 is our general price per class. Sometimes it's a bit more if it's wine tasting as well. Or we have a mini course coming up with Conrad Eschbisch, who's the food or wine writer for I Magazine.
Ooh, maybe I'll do that interview.
Yeah. And that's a series of 3 classes. So it really, from beginning to end with wine tasting. Of course, we always serve food. There's being foodies, that's what it's about here. There's always food as well.
Do you find that the people who come to these kinds of things, are they from all walks of life?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we have people who are just starting to cook or finally have gotten to the point where, they've always said, I must learn to cook. I have to learn to cook. Finally, they do something about it. And then we have a lot of professionals that come, young chefs or caterers that want to brush up or learn what's new, just get some tips. And I find I've been doing this for 6 years. I come to every class and I always learn something.
Oh, really?
Still.
Now, is there a trend towards healthier cooking? Because now that let's face it, good food usually is rich food. So are you finding that your chefs are kind of changing the way they cook a little bit?
Definitely. So, most chefs. RP is one that he's very health conscious, but butter doesn't scare him at all.
Okay.
So you will see him probably throw in what looks like a lot of butter, and he says it's just a little bit, but it goes a long way.
Exactly.
People, so when people go at the sight of butter or cream, they have to be reminded that it is for a lot of people. But we find that vegetarianism is quite popular these days. We have 2 classes coming up. One a bit more gourmet than the other. The other is very healthy, vegetarian, strictly organic, and so on. So we try and offer something for everybody.
Well, there's all kinds of tastes out there, so you have to be versatile.
Exactly.
Now, I want to talk a little bit about what it's like to have a business like this. I used to have a retail store.
Right.
So I know that when you are an entrepreneur and you decide to do a venture like this, there are some great things that come of it, and there are some very difficult things. So a little bit about the pros and cons of having a small business that involves a lot of risk, because this is a unique venture.
It is, but I find for me it's offered me great benefits. It's been a flexible job, so with 2 kids, the hours are somewhat flexible, and that's helpful. I've met some fabulous people, in the whole industry of food and restaurant, wine, and it just keeps on going. The networking and just the people that I meet have just been fabulous. So that's quite enriching. The cons, I guess, are you're trying to please everybody, which is really difficult, very difficult to please every single person. So there will be a few disappointments here and there, and I find it hard to deal with that personally, because I do want everyone to be happy.
Of course, because your reputation
exactly
is based on keeping your
but
happy.
you have to realize that you are dealing with chefs, you are dealing with food and things that aren't so predictable. And I don't want to say that chefs aren't predictable, but sometimes things happen. There are emergencies. Some product does not come in. Sometimes, most of the time, it's the other way around, where they say, I just bought this wonderful fish today, so I had to cook it instead of what I had planned to cook. And so the surprise element I really like, but some people don't.